Hey guys, it's Logan again from Apotheosis. Today, I want to share what I think is the best equipment for dragons, for root riders, as well as fireball attacks, as well as the best pets to go along with it, and what order to upgrade your equipments. But I'm not going to share any legend attacks today just because we have the broken event troops right now, and every day is just a 320, 320, 320 for everybody, and they're getting nerfed tomorrow. So with the nerf, it should be able to get more interesting attacks. People are asking about how you should upgrade troops, so that's what we're going to start with. But before we get into that, I want to share that we're doing a giveaway for the next two videos, and it's sponsored thanks to Tyler Cockmaster. We're doing a giveaway for an event pass and a gold pass. There's two winners for each video, as well as the winners are going to be announced on the YouTube community tab, as well as they're going to be replied to in the comments, so they'll know that they won. Then we'll have them join the Discord, then we'll be able to discuss and be able to give them their pass. But it's a big thanks to Tyler Cockmaster for sponsoring us for this, as well as sponsoring the whole giveaway. He's a really nice guy, as well as all you gotta do to get into it is be sure to like, comment, and make sure you're subscribed. So if you comment, you'll be able to be entered as well. So you have all those requirements met, and then you'll be entered for the chance to win. It's gonna be all random, and there's already been a few winners because it's been for 5 total videos, so it's been for 3 videos already. People are very excited, so hopefully you guys win and good luck with it. And let's get into the video and hope you guys enjoy. So if you're looking at dragon attacks for the king, if you do use the king, ideally you do not want to use the king. However, if you do, you want to do the earthquake boost and spiky ball. That's the best option. Although a second best option is the spiky ball and the snake bracelet. It goes very well together. If the king just walk around the outside, it's a great combo. However, if you don't have the spiky ball and you don't have it upgrade or anything, the giant gauntlet and the rage vial is a perfect option as well. But ideally, the first choice would be the spiky ball and the earthquake boots. That's the first choice for dragons if you're using dragons of the king. Now for the queen, where you definitely want to use the queen, you definitely. The best option is just undisputed for dragons. It's the giant arrow and the healer puppet. They just work so well together. The giant arrow triggers invis towers, takes out air defenses, takes out what else? Takes out sweepers. All those are just very valuable. So if you're talent 17, you definitely want to get your giant arrow up first, and then your healer puppet. Because giant arrow, if you take out air defenses early, the base can be pretty much wrecked from there. Now the minion prince, for dragons with the minion prince, you definitely want to have the dark orb. That's 100% the best option every single time. Every single time. It's just very powerful. It's literally like the back end magic. Or you can use it even just one shot a clank house full of archers, which can be a hard counter to dragons at times. But the dark orb is just going to take care of that, as well as you want to have the henchman puppet 9 times out of 10. It's going to be the best option because you get extra damage with it, as well as these little henchmen can tank for black air mines, which are incredible value for you to help keep your minion prince alive, help keep your dragons alive, and helps give you that value that you're looking for. So that's the best combo for dragons for the minion prince. And for the warden, it's always just going to be this, always the eternal tome and always the healing tome. It's just straight up the best option for the warden. I know some people say, hey Logan, what about the Rage Gem? No. It sounds counterintuitive, right? The Rage Gem is really strong for lots of things, but with dragons, you think, okay, it's gonna make you do more damage because it has 50% damage increase. But nope, that 50% damage increase is not gonna cause you to do more damage over time because with the Healing Tome, you'll be able to get your dragons alive for longer. With them alive longer, they're able to do more damage over time. But however, if you are using like 12 or 14 invis, it could for like a RC charge, could be viable to have the Rage Gem, but you don't want that. You just want the healing book every single time. It's just incredible. And of course, no fireball with it, no Lava Puppet, no Life Gem. These are just the only two options you want with the Warden for dragons. And for the Road Champion is a bit more finicky, right? You can kind of change out a lot more. So if you're doing a smaller Invis RC charge with the Electro Boots, you want to have the Electro Boots, of course. Those are priority. And you want to have the Rocket Spear. If you're doing less, like say you have the Revive or you have the Recall, the Rocket Spear is incredible value for that. Now, if you don't have the Recall, you don't have the Revive, you're just doing straight Invis, the Haste Vial is definitely the option. Say you have 12 Invis for your RC charge, 11, 14 even. The Haste is going to be the option you want to have for the Electro Boots combo for World Champion. Now, say you don't have any of that, you don't have the Electro Boots, even though you should have it now, but you just say you don't have them at all. You want to have the Rocket Spear and Seeking Shield. That's gonna be your next best option. It's really good for the back end cleanup. It's incredible because you can just hit like you can one shot Teslas with the Seeking Shield. You can one-shot air defense with Seeking Shield. You can one-shot Arch Towers. You can one-shot quite a few very key defenses with just a Seeking Shield on the back end, which can be some crazy, crazy value for dragons at least, for really any attack to be honest. But for dragons, you definitely want to prioritize the Warden equipment. The Warden equipment is the most important part because the Warden is critical in any attack. So you want to get your Eternal Tome all the way up to max, and your Healing Book up to max. And then after that, you want to get your Giant Arrow up and your Healer Puppet up because you want to make sure you keep your Queen alive. Then, say you're using the Electro Boots and Rocket Spear, you want to upgrade your Electro Boots up to level 18, then your Rocket Spear up to level 18 as well. 18 for the Rocket Spear because that gives you 9 shots, and you won't get the 10th shot until level 27. So level 18 is good. Basically, for any epic equipment that you have, getting it to level 18 or 21 is probably decent enough for it, 9 times out of 10. And then at the end, you want to focus on getting your Dark Orb up. That Dark Orb's going to go crazy. And then finally, you can get the Henchman Puppet up. It's going to be good, but the Dark Orbs are really the one you want to go for. Now that's what you look for dragons. And let me add real quick, I don't think this action figure is really that viable with dragons at all. It is, from testing I've done, people talk about it as well. It's just kind of worthless with dragons. Your queen's going to die and she doesn't have that value, especially like to use my army, which has the 2 extra healers. You're not going to get much value with this action figure, straight up. Straight up. And Root Riders, I haven't seen it as well either because it's a nerfed version of the Giant Giant. It's not even like the best version. The healers will help keep your Root Riders alive for longer, and it'll help keep your troops alive for longer, which will allow you to get more through the base and allows you to get more value, potentially 3-star easier. So I really don't think this action figure is all that's hyped up to be. Now I have seen it useful on like a Sui attack. Say you're using a log launcher and you're trying to run hogs, or you're trying to run, say, even Lalo, any of that. It seems somewhat useful there, but it's still not going to be as much value, in my opinion, as say just the combo of the Healer Puppet and the Magic Mirror raised up. That's going to give you more damage, give you more value. So I feel like this action figure is not the best option 9 times out of 10. Maybe more like 9.9 times out of 10. It's not the best option. People are hyping it up right now, but it doesn't feel like that good, honestly. It feels kind of weak. It feels kind of weak. So I wouldn't say waste your ores on this at all. I say don't do that. Now for the pets with dragons, it's pretty simple, in my opinion. So if you're doing a smaller invis charge, like say 4, 6, 8, you want to have the Spirit Fox for the RC Charge Royal Champion. Or if you're just using like the Royal Champion with the Rock Spear Seeking Shield, you want to have the Spirit Fox. It's just the best value. It's straight up the best value. As well as it allows you to save the Phoenix for the Minion Prince, because the Phoenix with the Minion Prince is just incredible, incredible, because it gives him an extra 8 seconds of life, which gives you 8 more seconds of him doing almost 1,000 DPS per second. For 8 seconds, that's almost 8,000 damage, as well as he's gonna have the Phoenix on the back end as well, and he'll be invincible in that time, so he can tank for some air mines, because usually if he dies, he's gonna die something strong, like say the Monolith, or like a single Inferno Tower, or even the Town Hall, so he'd be able to take that out no problem with the Phoenix. And for the Warden, I really, really, really like the Sneezy. But if you're not a Town 17, don't have it upgraded, then the Owl's perfect. That's the true, I mean, the pet we've been using for years, the Owl, and it's always worked great. But the Sneezy just offers so much more value because these booger boys, they come out and they're out here just tanking for you. They're out here doing all this damage. They're out here doing all this work, incredible, incredible work. As well as they've been clutching the cleanup on the back end in hard mode for me. Like with hard mode and dragons, the boogers just do so much. They're great. And now for the queen, you want to have the Frosty. Straight up, the Frosty the best option. Some people are like, hey, why don't you use the unicorn now you got level 15? Nope. Nope, nope, nope. Because you have ricochet cannons, and ricochet cannons with the unicorn's just wasted. 9 times out of 10, 99% of the time, it's just going to be wasted, wasted, wasted. But the Frosty will allow you to take out the ricochet cannon with your queen and Frosty have half HP or better versus 1 ricochet cannon. With the unicorn, your queen's dead and your unicorn is dead. So the Frosty just provides so much value. Almost any attack, you're going to have the Frosty and the queen. Almost any. And if you do use the king, you'll use the Phoenix on the king. But we're not using the king, we're using the minion prince. So the Phoenix on the king or the minion prince, depending on which one you're using, you're going to have that on that pet. Now, if you're doing a long, long, long charge with the Royal Champion, say you're using 12 Invis and you're using the Phoenix, in that case, you'd use the Jelly on the Minion Prince, which I'm not really a big fan of because it doesn't give him much value as much as a Phoenix, of course, but if you do that, that's what you want to use because that's going to be the best option for you. Now let's get into the pets for the rest. For Root Riders with the King, you want to use the Spiky Ball and you want to use the Earthquake Boots. 9 times out of 10, it's just the best option, straight up. It's just the best option for normal, at least. I have some people use the Spiky Ball and the Snake Bracelet with some success. I mean, you just don't have to really focus on that. That's 2 epics you gotta upgrade. It's not really worthwhile to upgrade that unless you have everything else maxed out. But the Spiky Ball and the Earthquake Boots are a very good combo, as well as the Rage Gem and the Giant Gauntlet also combo very, very well if you don't have the Spiky Ball upgraded or you don't have their Quick Boots upgraded. That's a very good combo. Now, some people do the Giant Gauntlet and Earthquake Boots. That's a mistake. Don't do this combo. Don't do that. That's just, it doesn't really mesh too well together. You really need that Rage Gem, especially because it's a common one as well. That's for the King at least. The King is kind of fixed like that. Not really too many options. Now for the Queen, for Legends at least, I like to have the Giant Arrow just because if there's an Invis base, it can really, really, really get you with Root Riders, especially an Invis core ring base, which is definitely common in lower to mid legends. And right now, there's lots of Invis bases as well. So the Giant Arrow is pretty much critical. There's no Invis base, no Invis tower. You can use the Giant Arrow to take out trash buildings on the side of a base to help make your funnel. And then you want to have the Healer Puppet, just because those healers are just so critical in Root Rider attack. Healers, healers, healers. Trust me, they're the most important part I feel like of the Root Rider attack after the funnel. Now, if you're doing like a war attack and there's no invis base, instead of giant arrow, the healer puppet is a very, very good option. Very, very good. However, you definitely do not want to have this action figure. I don't feel like it goes too well with these root riders. After some testing myself, I say it's not the best option to be honest, and it's definitely not good for dragons either. It's better for like a Sui, which we'll get into that. We'll get into that. Now, I really don't like to use the king with the root riders. I like to use the minion prince, and for the minion prince, just because I like to use the Minion Prince because he's simpler with Root Riders. Because you know exactly where to pop his ability. He's going to be in the center of the base where his Dark Orb's going to get the most value. You think about his Dark Orb. Now for the King, especially the Earthly Boost and Spiky Ball, you don't know exactly where because it's kind of more random with the Spiky Ball. You don't know where to send it. So it could be a little bit random. You could get a little value or some crazy value. Just the Minion Prince I feel like is more consistent. And of course the Minion Prince, you want the Dark Orb and the Henchman Puppet. I see some people switch instead of the henchman puppet, they use the metal pants, but I feel like that's not as good for root riders, especially because these henchmen can tank for more black air mines, red air mines. They take out a whole pack of red air mines, which will keep your healer safe, which is honestly extremely, extremely, extremely critical. The healers, I'm telling you, they're one of the most important parts of root rider attack. I'm telling you. Yep. Now for the minion, the warden, excuse me, you want the eternal tome, of course. That's just a given. Straight up for any attack that's spam, you want the eternal tome as well as you want the healing tome. Now, some people like to have the rage gem, but it's not as effective in my opinion, especially because you're going to heal up all your troops with the healing tome for 20 seconds, which is incredible, incredible value, right? As well as it keeps your healers alive. It will heal your healers back up because healers are one of the most important aspects of Root Rider attack. If your healers are dead and your Root Riders just end up dying, you're not going to 3-star more times than not. You still could, but it's going to be way more difficult. Now with the Rage Gem, you really have to make sure your healers stay alive. The only way you can keep them alive is just by popping the Warden's Eternal Tome. Well, you can pop the Eternal Tome and the Healing Book on Root Riders, and those healers are going to stay alive, and they're going to be chilling. So make sure you use the Healing Tome for Root Riders. Now, some people like to use the Life Gem and Rage Gem combo, but it's kind of more risky. It's definitely a little bit risky. I wouldn't say do that. So definitely for Warden, Root Riders, 100% use the Eternal Tome and the Healing Tome. Now for World Champion, there's a little bit divided among people. Some people like to do the Electro Boots and the Hog Puppet, which is what I like to do. I like to have the back end healing from the World Champion, the back end with the RC charge. However, some people really like to use the Haste Vial instead, but that's more difficult as well. I feel like there's more room for error with the Haste Vial because the World Champion dies early, she won't survive. She just won't survive because she doesn't get her much health back with the haste vial. She doesn't get. Does she get any back? She doesn't get any back, so she'll just die after the haste vial is popped. With the hog puppet, you have more time to react, so she'll gain back 1,000 HP. I believe she only has what 3,000, 4,000 total HP, so that's about 25%, 30% of her HP gained back just from the hog puppet. So if you kind of struggle with that, the hog puppet's the better option. It's much safer and makes it a lot easier. Now you don't really want to use the rocket spear ever with Fruit Riders. You don't want to use the any of the other two, the Seeking Shield or the Royal Gem. They're just not very viable. But those are the options you're looking for Root Riders at least. But don't before I say that, let me add this. You want to get your Warden abilities up The Eternal Tome and the Healing Tome, those are very, very big priorities. Those are the most important priorities for you to do. And then you want to get your Royal Champion equipment up, especially the Electro Boots. And if you're using the Haste Vial, get that thing up. It's cheap, right? It's common. Or the Hog Puppet, get that up. For Electro Boots, you only want to get that to like level 18, level 21 before it's usable. After that, it's pretty much all gravy from there. And then you can get these commons up to level 15. That's going to be all good as well. That'll be good. I like to use the Hobgoblin though, it's just safer. But you definitely want to max these two Eternal Tomes and Healing Tomes. For the Minion Prince, focus on the Dark Orb. Straight up, get that thing up to max. 15 is good, right? But get it to max, max, max. That's the value you're looking for. And for the Queen, so for the Giant Arrow, if you're using Giant Arrow, especially in Legends, you only need it at level 1 to be honest. Because you're mainly using it for the Invis Towers. If there's no Invis Towers, then it doesn't really matter. You can just Giant Arrow, just Invis Tower, trigger it with level 1 Giant Arrow, be fine. So that could be one of your last ones to upgrade. But you want to get this healer puppet up as well, because those healers can really, really help you out. Really, really, really. And then you want to focus on either the Minion Prince. If you are using the Minion Prince, focus on his. But if you're not, then you use the King. You focus on the King. You want to get your Spiky Ball and Earthquake Boots up. Get your Spiky Ball up to level 18. Earthquake Boots up to level 15. And those are pretty simple. Or if you're using the Giant Gauntlet and the Rage Vial, you just get those up level 18, level 15, and you'd be pretty good from there, in my opinion. But yeah, that's the order you should upgrade for Root Riders. Now, this is gonna seem kind of crazy. This seems like almost the same pets as the dragons because, honestly, it quite literally is basically the same pets. So for the Warden, you want to have the Sneezy, just because the Sneezy is gonna tank for Red Air Mines for you, which will allow you to keep your healers alive. And if you keep your healers alive, that means there's little chance you're gonna fail because you have your Root Riders alive, as well as the rest of your army is gonna be alive as well. Because your healers are all alive, that gives you incredible value. Because these little booger boys just go out and tank out for some Red Air Mines, and it's great. It's just great, great, great. Especially combined with the Healing Tome, of course. Of course. Now for the Royal Champion, you want to have the Spirit Fox, just because that Spirit Fox can give you the best value. If you do an RC charge, it's great, because you're able to use a few invis and get incredible value because you do the drop the invis at 6 seconds with the Spirit Fox. You're able to do maybe 3 or 4 cycles with that Fox alive, and you recolor Royal Champion and pull her back in, and it's crazy good. Now for the Minion Prince, if you are using the Minion Prince instead of the King, you want to use the Phoenix. Just because you'll get that 8 extra seconds of damage, as well as you will tank for more air mines as well when he's invincible, which will allow you to keep your healers alive, of course. Which, like I said, they're one of the most important parts of Root Rider attacks. I feel like people don't really talk about that much, but if you keep those healers alive, your attack's going well. It will go well. Now for the King as well, you're once again using the Phoenix too. You're using the Phoenix and the King too. It's just these seems to be the best pets. They really are, because I'll keep your King alive for longer, and the Phoenix can take for some Red Air Mines as well, which is also great. And for the Queen, of course, once again, you got the good old Frosty. The good old Frosty with her is just crazy value. She just keeps everything, can take more damage down. And if she's behind like the Root Riders, these little Frost Mites, that's what they're called. Yeah, these little Frost Mites are gonna come in. They can help take out, like, say you're on like a monolith and there's Root Riders on it. That'll slow down the monolith, which is great value. Now, if you don't have a Sneezy on the Warden, the next best option is the Diggy. The Diggy is a very good option. You can use the Diggy very, very easily instead. It's been the best option that's been working for years of Root Riders. What was it, years? I mean, it's been, what, a year and a half now. It was the best option before, but because the Sneezy's out, the Sneezy's the new best option for Root Riders. But either or will be incredible. Incredible, incredible, incredible. But yeah, it seems almost like a broken record because it's basically the same exact pets as with dragons. Straight up. Straight up. Now for anything fireball, a fireball attack, you want to have, of course, the fireball, and you want to have the rage gem on the warden. Those are just the best options. They're just the best options because the rage gem will keep your warden and the healers alive for longer. The fireball, of course, the fireball. Now for the queen, you want to have because you're gonna Sui, you want to have the magic mirror and you want to have the healer puppet, just because that's the best combo. I've seen some people say they like instead of the healer puppet, they like to have the giant, the action figure with it, but it doesn't give as much value from what I've seen and what I've tested, which I haven't tested too much personally with Sui, but is that out of this option, it seems to be the healer puppet and the magic mirror is the classic option. This option is always going to work. You just rage up and you'll get incredible, incredible value. And for the king, of course, it's the spiky ball and the earthquake boots, which is just a classic combo. Even though they both have been nerfed in the past, it's still the best option. is still the best option. And no one really uses the Minion Prince, so you can't really use the Minion Prince like that. For the Royal Champion, though, it seems to be either the Electro Boots and the Hog Puppet, say she comes in with the heroes on the Sui, or she like comes in on like the back, or say you're doing like a Super Witch attack, you want to have the Hog Puppet and the Electro Boots, or you have the Rocket Spear and the Seeking Shield, which for like the back end cleanup, which is great in like a Fireball Rocket Moon attack. That's the best option for Fireball attack, in my opinion. And for pets, it's almost a broken record again. It's pretty much the same exact pets. Except for the Warden, you're either going to be. This is where the real change comes from. If you're using like Fireball Rockloons, you're doing a slow Fireball, you want to use the Angry Jelly. Just straight up. That's going to be the best option for a slow, long Fireball where you line it up. Now, if you're doing a quick Fireball, the Angry Jelly is the worst possible option you could do. That's just going to get your Warden killed. You don't want to do any of that. You want to use either the Sneezy, which will allow you to basically do test loons with the little boogers, or you want to do the unicorn, because the unicorn will help keep your warden alive, and that will just give him more damage, like an extra little healer. And I have some people use the electro owl, but with the electro owl, it basically takes the same place as the sneezy. So the Sneezy basically is a better Electro Owl in literally every form of attack. And for the King, you want to have the Minion Prince just because, I mean, the Phoenix, excuse me. I'm used to saying Minion Prince, but the Phoenix just can give you the best value, and that's going to allow you to just get into the base deeper and allow you to get the extra 8 seconds of damage, which in a Sui could mean all the difference between taking a Town Hall down, could mean taking down a key defense, or anything that could really kill your Warden, which you want to keep alive. And for the Queen, it's just a classic. Literally the classic. Any attack with a queen at a higher town hall, you want the Frosty. The Frosty's just the best option for the queen 99% of the time. 99% of the time. And for the Royal Champion, it's the same thing as well. The Spear Fox. The Spear Fox is one of the best pets in the game. It'll be the best option 99% of the time as well. Although you do see a bit more variation with maybe having the Phoenix sometimes, but that method seems to be dying out among higher skill players. They seem to mainly use the Spear Fox. Now, lower skill players do sometimes use the Phoenix still, but even them, they seem to be switched to the Spear Fox more and more and more, from what I can tell. But yeah, that's what the best options for Fireball, in my opinion. Now, I want to say if you guys enjoyed the video, if you have any more suggestions for a similar type of video you'd like from me, I really would appreciate it. And I'd appreciate if you guys liked and subscribed. I'll see you guys tomorrow.